When my best friend, Laura Simmons, called me that Thursday evening, I could immediately sense something was off in her voice. Laura wasn't the kind of woman who ever asked for help unless she truly needed it. So when she said, "Sarah, can I ask a huge favor?" I agreed right away, not even knowing what she was about to say. She went on to explain that her company was sending her out of town for a last-minute conference, and that her teenage son, Ethan, needed a place to stay for the weekend. Her relatives were all busy, and she didn't want to leave him alone. I'd known Ethan since he was a little boy, so of course I said, "Yes, he's welcome here any time," assuring her without hesitation. That Friday afternoon, Ethan arrived at my house in Portland, Oregon, with his duffel bag slung over his shoulder and his skateboard tucked under his arm. He had shot up in height since the last time I'd seen him, now nearly 6 feet tall, with a quiet confidence that came with growing up. But there was still that same polite, slightly shy charm in him. "Hey, Mrs. Thompson," he greeted with a grin. I laughed. "Ethan, drop the missus, please. Just Sarah is fine." My husband, Michael, was away on a short business trip, so it was just me and our golden retriever, Buddy, in the house. Honestly, I'd been craving a bit of company anyway, and Ethan's visit turned out to be just what I didn't know I needed. That first evening, we decided to make homemade pizza. Ethan helped me slice vegetables, cracking jokes about how his mom never let him near the oven. "She says I'd burn cereal," he teased, and I couldn't stop laughing. We ended up spending more time laughing than eating, and for the first time in weeks, my quiet house felt alive again. Later, we curled up in the living room to watch a superhero movie while Buddy sprawled out happily at Ethan's feet. I couldn't help but notice how thoughtful he was, cleaning up without being asked, helping with dishes, and even taking Buddy for a short walk before bed. That night, as I turned off the lights, a warm thought crossed my mind. Laura really raised a good kid. The next morning came with the soft patter of rain against the windows. The next morning brought heavy rain. The Pacific Northwest was always unpredictable that way, shifting from sunshine to storms without warning. Ethan woke up early, already in the kitchen flipping pancakes when I came downstairs. "Mom says your recipe is better than hers," he said with a grin. I chuckled. "Flattery will get you extra syrup," I replied, handing him a plate. As we ate, our conversation drifted from school to his college plans and how hard it was for teenagers to stay focused these days. He spoke more openly than I expected, admitting that the recent divorce of his parents had left him feeling lost and disconnected. I looked at him gently and said, "You don't have to hold everything in, Ethan. Sometimes just talking helps." He gave a small nod, relief softening his features. "Thanks, Sarah. You've always been easy to talk to." It was one of those moments when you realize that sometimes a young person doesn't need advice or correction. They just need someone who listens. That afternoon, while playing fetch indoors with Buddy, something I usually never allowed, Ethan accidentally knocked over one of my favorite ceramic vases. It shattered across the floor. His eyes went wide. "Oh no, I'm so sorry. I'll pay for it," he blurted out. I laughed softly. "Ethan, calm down. It's just a vase. I've broken worse." He immediately helped me clean up, sweeping and vacuuming the tiny shards, still apologizing every few seconds. I admired how honest and responsible he was. It's rare to see that kind of sincerity in teenagers these days. That night, I texted Laura, "Your boy's doing great, polite, helpful, and he makes a mean pancake." On Saturday afternoon, Ethan was lounging in the living room, sketching quietly while the rain continued outside. Suddenly, he frowned. "Wait, where's my sketchbook?" he muttered, standing up. What followed was a full-blown treasure hunt around the house, checking under furniture, behind cushions, even in the kitchen. Finally, we found it wedged beneath the couch. He looked embarrassed and hesitated before saying, "It's kind of personal, but want to see?" I nodded. When he opened it, I was stunned. Inside were beautiful pencil sketches, portraits, animals, and breathtaking landscapes. Every page showed patience, talent, and quiet emotion that words couldn't express. The level of talent in Ethan's sketchbook left me speechless. "Ethan, these are incredible. Have you shown your mom? I asked, still turning the pages carefully. He shook his head shyly. She's been too busy lately. I guess I didn't think it mattered. I met his eyes and said softly, "It matters. Art like this should never stay hidden." For the next hour, we talked about his passion for drawing and his dream of becoming a digital artist someday. It struck me then, sometimes all a young person needs is for one adult to notice what they're capable of. That evening, the rain returned, heavier this time. At some point, Buddy managed to slip out through the back gate. Before I could react, Ethan was already grabbing his jacket and racing outside into the storm. I followed him, calling out, but he found Buddy first, kneeling in the mud, gently coaxing the frightened dog to come back. When we finally returned inside, soaked but laughing, I said, "You're officially Buddy's hero." Ethan smiled, brushing the rain from his hair. He's family now. I couldn't just let him go. That small act said more about his heart than words ever could. I recorded a quick voice note for Laura, telling her the story. She replied almost instantly, her voice filled with pride. "That's my boy." Later that night, the house was warm and quiet again. Ethan and I sat at the table, playing a board game while talking about life, movies, and the future. Somewhere between jokes and laughter, he admitted, "People think teenagers are lazy or glued to their phones, but sometimes we're just tired from trying so hard." I smiled gently. Adults feel the same way. We just hide it better. It turned into one of those rare, honest conversations that bridge generations. We laughed about our differences, but found comfort in the same simple truths: music, art, and kindness. On Sunday morning, I woke up to the smell of breakfast drifting from the kitchen. Ethan had made French toast this time. Buddy was already fed and walked, and the kitchen was spotless. When I thanked him, he simply shrugged, smiling softly. It's my way of saying thanks for letting me stay. This weekend meant a lot. His words lingered with me, a quiet reminder of how even small acts of connection can leave lasting warmth. That warmed my heart. It had been a long time since someone had thanked me simply for being kind. That afternoon, Laura returned earlier than planned. When she pulled into the driveway to pick up Ethan, he hugged me tightly before she even reached the door. "I'm gonna miss this house," he said softly. Laura looked surprised. "Miss this house?" she asked with a smile. Ethan nodded. "Yeah, it felt peaceful here." Laura's eyes met mine, filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Sarah. You have no idea how much this helped us." After they left, the house fell silent again, but it was a comforting silence, the kind that follows something meaningful. A week later, I found a small envelope in my mailbox with Ethan's handwriting on it. Inside was a hand-drawn picture of Buddy sitting in the living room, perfectly captured in pencil. Beneath it, a short note read, "Thank you for being kind when I needed it. You made me believe adults can still listen." Tears filled my eyes. Kindness doesn't always echo right away, but when it does, it touches your heart in ways words can never fully describe. Months later, Laura called again, her voice brimming with excitement. "Ethan got into the scholarship program. He submitted his art portfolio. They loved it. He said you encouraged him." I smiled, picturing the shy boy with the sketchbook and the muddy sneakers. "He did all the work," I said quietly. I just reminded him of what he already had inside. That rainy weekend had changed more than I ever expected. It reminded me that real connection isn't about age, it's about empathy. And sometimes, the most unexpected guests leave behind the deepest footprints on our hearts.